Hi, everybody. My name is John DePietro.
And I'm Bob Zagami with the Camper Report Show.
And on this Camper Report Show, Bob, I spoke with Woodall's editor-in-chief, Ben Quiggle, about all the wild weather that's been happening all over the country during this season right now. But more importantly, how to keep yourself safe while you're camping and you come across inclement weather.
Yeah, and I've got a nice interview with Dan Dominski, who is launching a 24/7 RV channel, everything related to RV, people, process, companies, you name it, a direct TV television channel.
Well, you know what? They thought people were crazy when they started the Golf Channel 24/7 and the Weather Channel 24/7 and CNN 24/7. Let's see if a 24-hour RV channel will take place and thrive. And we've got all the news headlines of the week. Bob, tell our audience where we get our news.
Well, actually, from Ben Quiggle, who you will be talking to at Woodall's Campground Magazine, and Rick Kessler with RV Business Magazine. All the news, all the time.
All of that plus much more coming up right here. Where, Mr. Zagami?
On the Camper Report Show.
Stay with us, everyone. Hey, everybody, it's John from the Camper Report Show, and I want to introduce you to RV Mattress by Brooklyn Bedding. Now, Brooklyn Bedding will make a mattress to fit any size RV. The unit that we have in our Class C is a Brooklyn Dreamfold Hybrid. Well, we put it in a couple weeks ago. We've been on a couple trips. Sometimes I've slept in it. When I've gone out alone, my wife has slept in it. And you know what? We both had great nights' sleeps. You know, they have their own factory right in Arizona, so that gives them strict quality control. It was easy and fun to set up. You hear that? Wow. This is less than 30 seconds. So, that is luxury. Now, the thing I like best about this, there is a 120-night sleep trial. 4 months you can try this out. And guess what? It's got a 10-year warranty. We've had it for 2 weeks. Here's the reason I like it. It fits perfectly here where the old mattress was. It was easy to buy. You just go online and there's every choice imaginable, which says a lot because the RV biz has a million different sizes of mattresses. You should order it now. It's 25% off, and give yourself, your family, and anybody else who you travel with the best gift possible, the gift of a great night's sleep. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Camper Report Show. This is the news segment. My name is John DePietro. His name is Bob Zagami. And Bob, there is a lot of interesting news and a lot of good news that's taking place in the RV industry this week. And the first thing that I thought under the interesting category is this new Go RVing survey that was just released that kind of tells us the business mindset of so many RVers, especially new RVers that have just taken to the roads and the byways and highways of America since COVID. Talk a little bit about that population.
Yeah, this is a very interesting report because we've heard over the past couple of years, during those COVID years, the number of young adults and Gen Zs and millennials that are working from the road. It's the reason why they jumped into RVing, having the mobility to go and work anywhere at any time. But it's not just that they're working for somebody else. There's a tremendous trend towards entrepreneurship from these Gen Z RVers that are out there. In fact, they mentioned that Google searches for side hustle businesses were three times more. So they know that they can earn money and fund their RVing lifestyle. And yep. it's kind of unique in terms of that particular segment of the market.
Yeah, I think at one time that side hustle term was known as a part-time job. Now the side hustle is really something that you're kind of doing on your own, whether it be online or whatever. But these people, and the other interesting fact and stat that I saw about that was families who travel. In other words, people that have uprooted their families. I don't know if uproot is the right word, but changed their lifestyle for a period of time, are 80% more likely to have a person in their family that has their own business. Now, you and I have been around for a long time, and it used to be that in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, you went to college, then you went to work for a large corporation for 35 or 40 years, and you got the gold watch, and you got a retirement party, and then you bought an
and the cake. Don't forget the cake.
the cake, okay,
Yeah.
which nobody ate.
Cakes are important.
Nobody ate. And then you bought an RV, and you lived for 5 years, and then you sold it when it was still under warranty because your health had failed you. Okay. Today, it's a totally different change. And the fact is, people are thinking more and more about opening their own business and being their own bosses. And that's really a total reversal from a couple generations ago, isn't it?
It is. In fact, the study showed that 10% of the Gen Zers are going to start a business with their RVs, in their RVs, some type of business. And it is interesting to see the dynamics of the work environment between COVID and the ability to do mobile work, but also the people who were required to stay home during COVID, who don't want to go back to the office. They don't want to go back to the building and the elevators and all these people. So combine that, those are the people who are buying the RVs. They're saying, hey, wait a minute, I proved I could work anywhere while I did COVID, and sat there and did my Zoom meetings and what have you. Well, hell, I'm just going to buy an RV, hit the road, and do it on the road. So it's an amazing change from what certainly from our parents, but certainly during our business careers as they developed. Absolutely.
And the interesting, ironic as well as interesting sidebar to that whole story is that people that don't want to go back. Well, right now in the news, Zoom, the company that we're using in this platform to broadcast this show, Zoom is in the news because they want their people to come back to the office. So the people that made not going to the office possible now want their people to come back. And guess what the employees are saying?
Nope.
So that'll be interesting.
Not going to do it.
Interesting to follow that story.
Yeah.
Another interesting story is after you have your RV and you've done all your traveling, so many RVers are community-minded people that want to give back. There are groups of RVers that will follow disasters. It sounds crazy, but they're follow disasters, and they'll go there in their RV and they'll help rebuild a house. They'll help rebuild a church. They'll help rebuild a community. And our friends at Lippert, who I think are one of America's most community-minded large companies, are organizing an event called CRV. Now, the reality is when you look at it, it looks like SERV. The reality is it's pronounced serve. So you're serving communities that need help in your RV. Explain that better to our audience than I just did.
Yeah, it's a great program. And you're right, John. I mean, Lippert is almost a $4 billion company. They don't have to do stuff like this, but the entire culture that Jason Lippert has developed at every level of the organization is giving back to the community, whether that community is around their various plants and manufacturing facilities, or if it's in their customers who have Lippert products on their trailers and motorhomes, and when they go camping, they want to do something of service. So they're going to do their first ever serve rally at Champions Run RV Resort in Ocala, Florida, October 19th to 22nd. And these are campers who are going to join them at this rally. And Michaela Grimes, who is the Director of Corporate Community Impact at Lippert, the timing is right for these generous contributions by the corporations and the campers. And they're going to take place all over the country. But while they are in Florida at this particular first rally, that is going to be hosted by Sean and Christina Conlon. Some people may know them from their Paws for Love, PAWS, like dogs. They're sponsoring this particular rally, and they're going to be going out to food pantries, thrift stores, completing park beautifications, and a lot more in that general area. And it's just a great community service with the Lippert brand above it. But they don't promote the Lippert brand. They do it because they want to do it, not because they have to do it. The campers and the RVers, that participate do it because they want to do it. It's a time in their life where they can travel, they can do volunteer things, and there's many beneficiaries around the country for this particular program and other programs that Lippert is doing.
Yep. And when we get to Elkhart next month for the big dealer open house, we'll have to sit down with Jason Lippert personally and find out why. I mean, the fact that they have a person whose title is Director of Corporate Community Impact. I'm presuming they have to pay this person. And we've had...
He's probably not a volunteer, right?
Right. We've had Lippert people on in the past, and every time, and we've also done several stories about Lippert events right here in the news segment. But it seems like every time they've done something big, they come up with something bigger next time around. So that is to be commended. Another group of people that are gathering as we speak there's a gathering of frogs in Elkhart, Indiana. Now, somebody has said, there's a turtle group somewhere, there's a frog group somewhere. It says frogs. What is this frog group, Bob? Tell me what this is.
Well, it's not the four-legged things that jump down the street. It's
not?
No, it's the Forest River Owners Group, which is open
Forest River Owners. I see it. Okay, go ahead. So what do they do?
FROG.
They're meeting
at these rallies that are sponsored by Forest River. They do educational seminars. They do workshops. They get together for social events. And this year, our friends at RV Business are sponsoring Tony Barthel and Mike Sokol from RV Electricity, Tony from stresslesscamping.com. And they're going out and giving reports every day at 6 o'clock. They're reporting back on the activity. So in fact, later tonight, we're taping this on Wednesday. We're going to have them on our other show tonight, but they're noting the trends that they see at the rallies. And right now, the hot ones at this year's rally apparently are e-bikes, Starlink, and dogs are everywhere. And that's going to be interesting to see. We'll get a capsulation of what's going on at the Frog Rally when we talk later on tonight.
You're using those big words, a capsulation. That's well beyond my pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a summary?
They're also doing seminars. Mike
Okay.
Sokol's doing his electricity seminar, which is by far the best in the country. But it's an international rally. A lot of people are out there. And it's interesting because last year they saw a few e-bikes. So they're trying to look at the trends that are coming about from one year to the next. And he says almost half the attendees have electric bikes out there this year. So from last year, there were some, and all of a sudden it caught on, and now they have that. The styling system, similar system, they were just coming out last year. And now a lot of RVers are talking about that. And they are seeing a lot of solar and lithium batteries that are on the units, but they think that'll be the big thing that they're going to talk about next year. But it'll be interesting. Tony's a fun guy. Mike's a serious guy. This is going to be interesting because Tony's all fun. Give him a craft beer, let him talk, and he'll just go for hours.
Mike's an engineer.
Go for hours, but he's an engineer, right? Yeah. Exactly.
So because with engineers, you can't be colorblind because if you
this could be color. What's scary is this could be the new Abbott and Costello of the RV world.
It could be.
Now, recognizing, John, that many people watching this program have no clue who Abbott and Costello are.
Exactly. So, when I think of Mike Sokol, I always think of red because he always wears a red shirt and all his advertising is red. But another big color that has come out in the news this week is blue, as in Blue Compass, because they're showing up on another Inc. report of fastest growing companies. Talk a little bit about our friends at Blue Compass.
This is impressive. They're only 5 years old. They are number 3 in the automotive category of the Inc. 5000 private fastest growing companies. They've got facilities in 5 years. They've got over 100 dealerships. They're in 33 states. And just tremendous growth to be in that, certainly to be in that listing when they weren't even known 5 years ago. And there's another company that's approaching $4 billion.
Yep. And there's a case of another group of people that came from the automotive world, from the car biz over into the RV biz, and they're duplicating that same thing. And we want to wish them well. I know that there were many locations. The signs still say RV1, but they're gradually changing that branding over to Blue Compass.
To Blue Compass RV. And think about that. This is for the last 5. They've been out there for 5 years. 3 of those were COVID years, and now we're coming out of the COVID. Yeah. So again, it highlights the tremendous appeal of RVs nationwide. New people coming into the industry, new products, new technologies. This is still an exciting time and a great time to be in the RV industry. Country has challenges, but the RV industry is leading the way on showing how to make money and how to serve people.
Yep. And leading the way to give us this information are our friends at RV Business and Woodall's Campground Magazine. Right. My name is John DePietro. His name is Bob Zagami. Bob, what's the name of the show?
I think it's the Camper Report Show.
Stay with us, everyone. We have 2 great stories coming up right now. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Camp Report Show. My name is John DePietro. We're joined with our very special guest. Every few months, we bring them on to kind of give you an update on what's going on in the camping season and say hello to Ben Quiggle from Woodall's. And Ben, welcome back to the Camp Report Show.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. So,
you know what? Last time we talked, it was just at the beginning of the season. In fact, you know what? We had met face-to-face in March up at the Northeast Campground Association meeting here in Massachusetts. A lot of things have gone on since that time in March. What are we now in August? So it's been 5 months. It's been a whirlwind season. But one of the things that we want to talk about, because it's on everybody's mind right now, there's still plenty of camping left, but wild weather has been sweeping across the country. And you know what? Number one, you should never be in an RV when you see tornado or heavy wind warnings. But when you're in a campground, you're even more vulnerable, Ben. Give us some update on Pennsylvania and Missouri. What's going on?
I mean, that just happened here recently. Pennsylvania got hit with some major storms, including, I think, a couple tornadoes. And I know some campgrounds there were severely impacted. I know on Woodall's Campground Magazine, we have one story about Sensational Family Campground, and if you actually scroll to the bottom of the story, you can actually see a video that they must have had recording.
I saw that video
when the storm hit. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So
you feel virtually helpless, because even if you go inside a facility, you don't go through a lean-to or any of the areas that you have picnics and that type of thing, because you can get killed real quickly that way. I know.
Yeah. And then I think in Missouri here recently, they had some flooding. I know when we talked with parks in the Northeast, we've seen stories about how flooding in like New Hampshire, Connecticut, places like that have impacted campgrounds and the camping season to some degree. I know there was a story not too long ago about how wet weather's kind of impacted Maine campgrounds. And then obviously, we see wildfires up in Canada, and people are kind of worried about the wildfire season down here. Obviously, the Hawaii wildfires are still fresh on people's minds. And we actually had a story up about a park in Texas that built a tornado shelter for its campground owners and for its campers. And they actually used it while it was being constructed. I guess they got hit by a storm, and campers went inside the tornado shelter. So just something for park owners to think about, I guess.
You bring up a very interesting point. When we were out at a Winnebago event in Forest City, Iowa, they have this grand national rally every year, usually in July. And when we were there a few years ago, we actually had to seek shelter in one of the, these buildings with gigantic, 1 foot thick concrete walls. And my wife specifically remembers looking over at the lady next to her, because we had all had to shelter there. And the lady had a parrot on her shoulder that was going kind of crazy. And my wife said, well, what happens now? And the lady says, just duck. When the roof flies off, just duck. Now,
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, and I know that you're not a fire or storm safety expert, but can you think of some of the things that interviews you've done with people, if they're stuck in a campground? Number one, if they're near a creek, they should, maybe abandon their facility and go to higher ground. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously if you're in a flooding area, you want to get to higher ground. And then with the wildfires, some people like to stick it out as long as possible in some of these, floods, the wildfires. Those are the people that we usually see being rescued. So, it's good just to leave. Everybody doesn't want to miss out on camping fun, but obviously, if severe weather is coming on, it's a good thing maybe to look at your escape options. I know on the RV park owner side, we always talk about planning and making sure their employees know what to do and creating those plans. But I think on the RVing side too, campers need to do the same thing. Like when they get to a park, look at your escape routes, figure out if the park does have a storm shelter that you need to go to. What's your evacuation plan look like? What are you going to do if a tornado comes through? Just so you know what actions to take. Obviously, the last place you want to be is in an RV if
Absolutely.
a tornado comes through.
Yep.
So you need to figure out what you're going to do. So
yeah, and I know a situation in Massachusetts. It's 10 years ago now, but I was there right after it, and there were severe. Actually, it was tornado warnings, not hurricanes, but tornado warnings. So they're much more localized. But they had 2 hours notice that they were heading in that direction, and there was a campground in Massachusetts, actually right near Sturbridge, where you and I have met, that they told everybody, abandon your units and come into the barn and go underneath. Okay.
Yeah.
And there was one couple that refused to follow the orders, and their motorhome, and it was a seasonal motorhome. So it was, already had, stuff around it that kind of kept it down. It was pulled 40 feet into the air and then came back down, and one of the people in it was crushed to death by the refrigerator. Now, who would have thunk that would happen? But the fact is, these RV units, especially tents, forget tents, are not made for hurricane wind. And the other thing I think, Ben, that you'd want to tell people, because I do this myself, is you always have the radar on your phone. So if you're heading in a certain direction and it's in the weather is black ahead of you, it's not that it's sunset, if it's 2:00 in the afternoon, or it seems as though a lot of these happen at 4:00 in the afternoon, at least in the Northeast, because it takes a while for the storm clouds to get revved up. Take a look. If you're on a highway in the plains, get off that highway.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you to go underneath a bridge underpass, because I'm not qualified to tell you that, but at least don't be surprised.
Find some shelter. What's great though is campgrounds now, and campers have a lot of access to apps now. Campgrounds are utilizing more apps now that will actually give out information if an emergency happens. So that's great. If you're at a campground, always ask the owners if they have something like that in place. And if they do, download the app. Even if you just keep it on your phone for a weekend or the few days that you're there, it's a great way for the park owners to stay in touch with you. And then, if you are in an RV and you're wondering where to go, I've always been told the bathhouse. Usually they're brick, and you want to go towards like a brick built building. Usually bathhouse is usually a pretty good spot to go to. And they're usually pretty close to your RV if you're in an RV park. I know some RV parks though are kind of getting rid of the bathhouses, so maybe plan B. So
I think it should also be pointed out that I totally lost my train of thought. You ever have that happen? Oh, I know what it was. don't think that these types of catastrophic storms are only in Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. They take place all over the country. And what's happened is, with this crazy weather of the last few years, there are states that are being impacted by this stuff that have never dealt with these before. So you got to constantly be on the lookout. And the other thing is this, it's not just, hurricane season is usually from August 15th until the end of October, but tornadoes can crop up at any time, anywhere. Yeah. And
and I think, I mean, what you said, it doesn't, obviously Oklahoma, Texas, some of those plain states are going to be where you're going to have more of your severe tornado weather, hurricanes, or Texas, the Carolinas, Florida, some of those typical states that get hurricanes, and then wildfires are typically out west. But I know, living here in southern Michigan, we can have a wildfire that springs up, obviously not as big as California, but it can still impact people. If there's any history buffs out there and they've never heard of the Easter Sunday tornadoes that hit northern Indiana and southern Michigan, I think it was 40-50 years ago, that might be something you'd be interested in looking up. But these places can have like one-off events, like the Easter Sunday tornadoes that destroyed tons of buildings and killed tons of people. So you're not immune to like a one-off event either, historical event. So
whether you're in a tent, whether you're in a pop-up, whether you're in a 45-foot diesel pusher or a 40-foot fifth wheel that's got a lot of weight to it, you are still not in the safest place that you should be. And seek shelter, be smart, be proactive.
And the campground industry has been really pushing for park owners to be more proactive, and a lot of park owners are proactive, but it's also important just to realize, you're at a park, and park owners do the best they can, but at the same time, you've also got to be cognizant on your end, just in case maybe you don't get the message, or maybe something happens and the park owner can't get it to you, or whatever. You got to be cognizant on your own too.
You're totally responsible. Responsible. So our time is up. Ben Quiggle, we want to thank you so much for taking time from your busy day. If people want to subscribe to any of the publications that you have, and I know you've got several of them, you've got, Woodall's it's the print edition, but there's a daily one. Tell us what the daily one is that people can find out more about.
So you can go to woodallcm.com. There's a subscribe for free button at the top. Everything we do is free. We have the print magazine that's pretty popular. And then we also have our daily emails, where we send out emails with like the top 10 news items from the day, including a bunch of videos. We have 3 different shows we do now. We do WCM's Park Update, Supplier Showcase, and we have a really interesting podcast with a glamping park developer in Michigan. So that's been really fascinating to watch as he talks about building his glamping park. And then we also do a newsletter on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, you can subscribe to that for free. So
you guys are a media conglomerate. What was I going to say? Conglomerate. Anyway, you put out a lot of stuff, and it's all good stuff. And we're pleased to have you as partners here on the Camp Report Show. We've been talking with Ben Quiggle. Say hi to all your colleagues there for us, and let all of you know that you are watching the Camp Report Show. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Camper Report Show. My guest today is Dan Dominski, and Dan has got a great project going. It's been kind of under wraps for a year or so, but Dan, tell us about RVTV.tv. You can't forget that name. That's pretty easy to remember.
It's a lot of TVs, right? So we are a full-time RV television network. We're the first one in the country. We're the first one that, is trying what we're doing. And yeah, we're everything you're going to see is RV or RV themed, RV lifestyle. And you can check out our schedule at RVTV.com. So there's, all of our resources are there. We are in 70 different channels across 45 markets throughout the United States. And that is, if you go to RVTV.tv, you can just click on where to watch, and all of those will come up. We also stream live on Roku. So that's all you have to do is go to Roku, search for RVTV, look for our RV logo, and you'll be able to see all of our programming live. What we do is we focus on kind of the, YouTube is kind of taking over, right? So that's where all of the great content is. That's where all the great stories are being told. The people who are really out traveling and doing their thing and, telling their story to the world via YouTube. Well, we've partnered with a lot of those people to bring that programming, kind of the best of their best, to television. And you can, watch amazing programming for everything from, the newest camper reviews to, we have incredible national park series that take people through every single national park in the country. There's, travel that goes all throughout the United States, Mexico, Canada. There's RV cooking. There's, the newest tech, solar, battery, just anything that you can think of that involves the RV lifestyle. We have that on the channel.
Let me just back you up a little bit.
Yeah.
What brought you to the selection of the RV industry or the outdoor hospitality industry as something new for your TV background? And maybe if you give them a little bit of a background, because you may be new to the RV industry in terms of programming, but you certainly understand television. Let the folks know what you accomplished in television before you decided to come into the RV world.
Yeah, absolutely. So our parent company, Canella Media, we're the largest long form, or layman's term, infomercial company in the country. So our past products have been, Tybo and just giant products like that. We've been around for 38 years and we've sold $10 billion worth of products. Any long form or any commercial that you'll see on TV that's over 90 seconds long, there's a very good chance that Canella Media had something to do with it. So, we really understand TV. And what it gives us is the ability to expand the station more than anything. It's hard to go into something and get recognized by the bigger platforms, and we're able to jump right into that. So, the Rokus will be live on Amazon Fire very soon in the next week or two. We have many other deals that, we're being approached with because people know what the RV industry is. There's so much to it. And that's the fun part about it, is not just, what can you advertise in a minute or two, but, you can tell a story in a half hour that actually is beneficial to the customer, because it's a field that they're interested in. We like RV. We're going to show you just all the newest stuff and kind of give you that peek inside that you might not have known about, that might push you further into, the lifestyle, or, just educate you and you'll have fun. So that was our motivating factor for starting the channel, is just what the whole industry is.
One of the things that I find interesting about it is, although you've had the commercial background, it's not going to be 24 hours of commercials. A lot of those long form commercials, to your point, were very educational. The thing that allowed people, or that people wanted to stay with them for a half hour, was that they were going to learn a lot. And, one of the challenges in our industry today is the number of people that we have on the road, the number of units that we're selling that are new, and the number of people who are coming into the industry. It's really record setting in terms of, especially because of COVID. So we got half the new buyers coming into our industry, even though the industry has been out there for over 50 years. So there's a crying need for education and more information about it. So how do you approach that in other ways with the television station?
Yeah, and something that we're really careful about is we're not wanting to turn it into one big commercial. And our shows are 23 minutes or 46 minutes. They're either a half hour or an hour. When you watch Seinfeld or Law and Order, that's the same thing. So there's 7 minutes of commercials per half hour. What we try to do is make the commercials also interesting and entertaining, and have them be, every commercial that we have is RV related products. So we partner with Electric Bike. So you're learning about electric bike. They're not pitching you, they're not trying to sell you it constantly. They're just showing you fun stuff that you can do on your electric bike, and you go, oh my gosh, that looks great. That's the commercial. So it's very soft, and then the programming is, like I said, it's nothing is infomercial based by any stretch. These are television programs. These are top YouTubers that our YouTube partners reach close to 3 million subscribers just on their own. So that's just built-in viewership. So that's what we're putting out there. We have RV documentaries, and what can I tow? What's a fifth wheel? Just truly educational stuff from somebody who you might have just gotten into it, all the way up, to kind of the next level stuff, and then everything in between, and entertainment, education, and fun. I mean, that's kind of the name of the game. And you'll run across YouTubers that you like, and we have their QR codes right on the screen, so you can click and you'll go right to their YouTube page or YouTube subscription page, so you can continue to follow them. And it's a really neat kind of ecosystem of YouTubers and the RV industry, and that's what we're really trying to create. And I think why we've had so much success. I mean, we're 98% sold out for advertising for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
so
one of the things that's very interesting about the industry in general is, and this goes for the manufacturers or the suppliers, we've graduated out of those days of selling just product, showing the newest product and the features and benefits of that. We now sell the lifestyle. Or we should be selling lifestyle. I always say, right, when I train dealers, you're not selling RVs, you're selling the RV lifestyle. Nobody buys an RV to have an RV. They buy it to do something with it. They want to go fishing or hiking, or go to a NASCAR race, or go to a cooking school. And so it sounds like you figured that out in the beginning and are now framing your programs with that same theme. Is that a correct statement?
Oh, 100% correct. For the last year, I've been watching what's popular on YouTube, because that's a very good snapshot of what people are interested in. If a guy makes a video on his phone and it gets 250,000 people to watch it, people are interested in that, and more people would be interested, but that's the only people who got to have access to it were those people. So we're just bringing that kind of stuff to there. So yeah, it's great. It's exactly what we want.
Now in your startup, I guess we could call it your startup phase now, what's the programming today? Where are you today with the launching of the channel, and where are you, and how close are you to be getting a 24/7 channel with a lot of this stuff in place? You've done a lot in the first year, so give us a snapshot of where you are now, where you think you're going to be 6 months or a year from now.
Yeah, so currently like I said, we're live across all of our television networks. We are on Roku, and we're going to be on Amazon Fire shortly. Our programming is all 100% in place. We have 12 or 13 great creators that we work with. On top of, we air RV Unplugged, which is a fantastic series by the RV Training Academy, kind of like a Survivor reality show that was amazing. We're going to be, we partner with them to air season 2. So our programming is in place. We are 100% up and running. Our advertising is, like I said, almost completely full of advertisers. And yeah, we are 100% in place. And, the last year had been just all of the building the relationships and the, kind of the backstory to it. And yeah, we have thousands of hours of RV content in our library, and we have new stuff on all the time. We have amazing programming. They can go check out what the programming is. If you go to our schedule, it'll show the most current programming. Yep. If you hover over any title, it'll give you a description of what that show is, much more in depth. And like I said, you can interact on the TV. There's QR codes. You can, oh, you like that bike? You can buy it right on the TV. You know, you can go right to the TV with the QR code and go right to their website. It's incredible.
So you're doing the RV Unplugged. They had a very successful first season, which they bootstrapped themselves. They just
It was
bootstrapped that, and you wouldn't have known. But also you have a background of owning stations and owning your own equipment and information, and that must be a big plus for you.
It is. I mean, Canella Media, and I'm not very technical. So what I'm saying is very broad, but we have a network operations center that we're able to send out all of our feeds to all of our stations throughout the country. So we can react like like the ABC affiliate in your hometown. That's what they have. So that, that just gives us the ability as we grow to make that much easier. I mean, we're getting approached by, large groups to bring RVTV in because they know that we have the ability to do it, but then also the programming and the content is just so good. I had a great call with, I met somebody on LinkedIn. I won't say who she is, but she's an executive at a very large television owner group. So it's one of the largest media companies in the world. And she's like, we sold all of our stuff 2 years ago. We bought an Airstream and we've been traveling, we traveled the country for 2 years. I mean, she has a big job and she's like, this is fantastic. And that relationship can turn into something great. So, just things like that.
Yeah.
You just never know, you just never know what you're going to find.
No, and there's so many stories like that of people who have either complemented their career by going full time, or they decided to homeschool their kids or road school their kids, or they restored an old Airstream. There are so many stories like that. The one thing we can be certain of is you will never run out of ideas. So it's a question of who you plug in, what type of show you plug in,
right?
Scheduling and the convenience for people, and people are on the road, and even for people who are only going weekends or a week at a time, we all live and die by the satellites in the sky and our computers. So timing wise looks good. So my guest this morning has been Dan Dominski with RVTV.TV. Dan, any closing words for our fans? It sounds like you're onto a fantastic project. You've done a lot in the first year, and we're certainly going to look forward to what you accomplish in the next year or two.
Yeah, I mean, just please check out our website. That'll kind of give you all the information on where we're at, the latest that we have going on. We also have Instagram, RVTV /television or _television. We're just getting into that, but we're going to start putting some very cool stuff in there and doing some partnerships and, kind of growing that as well. But yeah, we have a lot of new stuff. We're just on the horizon of a lot of cool things, and hopefully we can benefit the RV industry and embed ourselves in it in a positive way. So, and you've been fantastic, Bob. You were nice enough to spend hours on the phone with me, and your company and just everybody has been absolutely fantastic for no reason at all other than to just advance the industry and because you guys are great. So thank you very, very much.
We should reach out to others. We should advance the industry. It's an incredible lifestyle. There are people in it. There are incredible companies. So anything we can do to better that for the consumers and the companies that work in our industry, we love doing it. So I'm going to keep in touch with you, Dan, because we're going to have you back in 6 months or a year to let us know what you're up to on this. And
awesome.
I'll certainly be dialing in. And thank you very much for joining the Camper Report today.
Thank you, Bob.